everybody, welcome to an exciting part 3 of my Panasonic G9 series. In this episode we're going to talk about SD cards. Now, if you hang in there, subscribe to my channel and watch these, they will get more exciting and more in-depth, and I'll probably get into more advanced stuff, so hang in there. I want to start from the base of this because I want to do things that you might not hear other people on YouTube talk about. So SD cards. The Panasonic G9 has 2 SD card slots. And the cool thing is they're both UHS 2. Other cameras have, a lot of other cameras have just 2 card slots that have UHS 2 and UHS 1. The problem with that is, and I think this is why, is when you record video and you only have 1 fast slot, the video, I think on those other cameras, can only record video to 1 card. So it kind of defeats the purpose of having 2 cards. With the G9, not only do you get RAW photos and JPEG photos on both cards, 1 card and of course the other card for backup, but you also have the video recording on both cards, which is really cool because if 1 card fails, you've got video as a backup on the other card. So that's really cool about the Panasonic G9. So when it comes to cards, what card should you get? Like what speed should you get? UHS 2 cards or UHS 1 cards for the Panasonic G9? Well, I just stuck with the UHS 1 cards because I don't necessarily use a lot of burst modes. I never, for the life of me, can't remember when I just sat there and, just filled the buffer up and needed the card to dump the files to the SD card really quick. I don't necessarily use that, so I just stick with UHS 1 cards. Now, if you're someone who uses, really fills up that buffer for like maybe sports or wildlife, then you might want to go with the UHS 2 card. But for me, I'm sticking with the UHS 1 card. The last photo shoot was this one. This was about 2 years ago. And this was probably the only photo shoot in the last 2 years at least that I needed the fast, or filling up the buffer or fast burst mode. So I don't use it that often, and for this shot we just held it down while the athletes did their jumping. That way we can get that perfect frame a shot. So for me, I don't use it much, but something like this you could use. And even with something like this, I mean, you can sit there and go wild with that and wait a few seconds till the buffer clears and then have the next person go. So not a big issue for me. Now that's for photography, but what about video? Well, for video, you don't really need an UHS 2 card. A UHS 1 card will be fine as long as it has a max write speed. Like it can't go below that or you'll get some stoppage. And it's got to be around 30 megabytes per second. And you can get UHS 1 cards with that. You'll see like on the front of the card, it says V30. That is 30 megabits. When you see the V30, I think they're guaranteeing you a constant no less than 30 megabytes per second. So that's the card you're going to want to be looking for. Now, I do have some older cards that don't have the rated V30 on there, but they are rated as a 30 megabytes per second card, and they work fine. So just be cautious if you're going to do video that you get the newer cards that have the V30 at least. No need to go for the higher I think they got V60s and maybe even V90s. Those are really expensive, and you absolutely don't need them for the Panasonic G9. If you do get a card with not a constant 30 megabytes per second, then every once in a while, depending on the scene, you can get stoppage in your footage. So you press record and you're filming something, and then I forget the message that comes up, but it'll say, card not fast enough to write to card or something like that. So make sure you get one of those V30 cards. Now, when it comes to shooting photos, and you're shooting RAW plus JPEG just to give you an idea on the cards, on a 32 gigabyte card, you're going to get about 900 shots. On a 64 gigabyte card, you're going to get about 1,810 shots. And on a 128 gigabyte card, you're going to get about 3,590 shots. So what size card should you get for the Panasonic G9? It really depends on how often you want to switch out cards during an event or a photo shoot. Now, when I shot on cameras with only 1 SD card slot, I would shoot in smaller cards like a 16 gig or a 32 gig. That way, as I'm shooting and they're filling up and I'm switching cards out, if one of those cards later, like the ones that I'm using later in, let's say, the wedding fails, I still got all those other cards backed up with footage on it or photos. Whereas if you're just using one big card with one card slotted camera and that fails at the last hour, you lose everything. And man, I would not want to be going up to the bride or who's ever paying for an event and saying, you know, my memory card failed, I have nothing for you. That would be a disaster. It would be bad for your reputation as a photographer and a videographer. So if you shooting on a one slotted camera, that might be cool. But with the G9, we have 2 card slots. So that's a real good plus. And what I usually do is stick 2 128 gigabyte cards in there, UHS 1, because that's all I need. And that way I'm good to go. Stick them in there, and 128 gigabytes is 3,590 photos. I mean, there's probably a good chance you'll never have to take those out. The other thing that was a bummer about one card slots and shooting on 16 or 32 gigs is when you're switching those out, you got a good chance of misplacing those or losing those, which could be kind of shaky. So dual card slots, 128 gig, UHS 1, photography, bada bing, bada boom. You don't have to worry about the whole event. So now what size card should you get when shooting video? If you're going to shoot in 4K 60p to get the best quality out of this thing, best audio, 150 megabits per second, and I'm going to do another video on why I shoot like that all the time. And I know you guys like to shoot 24p, but stay tuned for another episode for more into that. But on a 32 gigabyte card, you're going to get about only 27 minutes. That's not a whole lot on a 32 gig card. That's going to fill up really quick. Now on 128 gig, you're going to roughly get about 1 hour and 50 minutes. So that's really close to 2 hours, and that's at 4K 60p. So 128 gig is the way to go so far with this camera, whether you're doing photography or video. So to break this down a little further, we've got 32 gigs is going to give you about 27 minutes of 4K 60p. And if you shoot 4K 24p, you're going to get about 40 minutes. So it's getting a little better at 24p and 4K. With the 64 gig card, you're going to get about 56 minutes of 4K video at 60p. And you're going to get about 1 hour and 20 minutes 4K at 24p. And like I said, on 128 gigabyte, you're going to get 1 hour and 50 minutes on a 4K 60p. And if you're going to shoot 4K and 24p, you're going to get a whopping 2 hours and 45 minutes. So if you're doing interviews and you just really want to make sure you don't run out of space on your card, then shoot at 4K at 24p. You're going to get 2 hours and 45 minutes. That's pretty good, you know. Now, if you shoot in 1080, I didn't do any tests because I just really don't shoot 1080 no more. I'm sure you're going to get longer with that. Now, as I said a couple times, I bought the 128 gigabyte UHS 1 card. Reasons being, I don't need that extra speed. And just to make, just show you the difference in prices, a UHS 1 card, 128 gig SanDisk card, costs about $60 for one of those. But for a UHS 2 card, it costs $250. That's 4 times the amount. So you really got to make sure if you really need that speed or not. And for most photography, you don't need it. And for video, you don't need it. Just make sure it has that V30 on there and you'll be fine. Okay, now on the G9, if you take a photo, RAW plus JPEG, there's about a second delay before you can actually zoom into a photo and check focus. So I did a video that you can watch right here. And as you're watching this video, see, I take a photo and then I just start zooming in right away, and it takes a split second before it actually does zoom in. So that may be a problem for some of you, and I do like to take a shot and zoom in real quick. But for me, it's not a deal breaker. It just wanted you guys to know that it takes a little bit of a second to zoom in like that. Now, if you do get a UHS 2 card, and if anybody out there has that, try the test and see if when you take a photo, just start zooming in right away and see if it's any quicker. But for a $250 card, for me, it's not worth it. I can wait that split second before zooming in on a photo to check focus. Now, when it comes to the 2 memory card slots, there's a couple options that you have. The first option is called relay record. And how that works is when the first card fills up, it goes to the next card. So again, if one of those cards fails, you're going to lose the footage on those because they're not being backed up. It's just, 128 gigs, you times that by 2, that's how much space you're basically getting. So that's not a feature that I usually use. The second option is backup record. That's the one I use because when I take a photo, RAW plus JPEG goes to card 2. It also card 1. It also goes to card 2. When I do a video, it goes to card 1 and also goes to card 2. So if a card were to fail, I have a backup of all. Now, allocation I thought would be kind of cool because I would love to take a photo and have RAW go to the first card, which you can, and JPEG go to the second card, which you can. Of course, with that, if the RAW card fails, you don't have RAWs no more. You have JPEG backups, which isn't too bad, but you have that issue. But when you do have that set up, there's only an option to send the video to card 1 or card 2. There's no option to have video sent to both cards. Now, ideally, I would like to have RAWs go to, card 1, JPEGs go to card 2, and then video go to both cards. That way you have a backup, but it's not like that. There's no option. So for me, I go back to just the middle option, which means everything gets backed up, and I feel more safe about that. Now here's another little thing to note. If you're shooting RAW only, you take a photo and you want to zoom in to check sharpness, what you're actually zooming in on is a very low quality thumbnail. So when you zoom in, it's going to look pixelated and kind of blurry, so don't think that that's the actual, raw photo. But that's another reason why I don't shoot RAW only, because when zooming in, I don't know if is the focus there or not. I'm not sure. So by shooting RAW plus JPEG and you zoom in, you're actually zooming in on the high quality JPEG. So that's one reason I really shoot RAW plus JPEG. And one final thought before we end this: number your cards. That makes a world of difference when you're out there changing cards around, or if one fails or one's full or whatever, you know what the card is. You got card 1, card 2, card 3, card 4. And I just went to Office Max and bought those little, I don't even know what they are. They're little stickers, and I just stick them on my cards and I number them. I also number my batteries, just in case I didn't mention that in my last video. So number your cards, and that's pretty cool. Now, if you guys want to see more of these, parts, subscribe to me, give me some thumbs up, ask some questions. I love to chat with everybody. I try to answer everybody's question, and stay tuned for the next one. Talk to you later, guys. Bye-bye.